Y'all, this thing. Okay. One day I'm gonna figure out how to position my damn phone in this thing so I don't have to lean over, but it ain't gonna be today. Y'all, this is gonna be your review for Pose, a season 1 episode next to last. Cause I don't remember. I keep forgetting to write the episodes down, y'all. I'm gonna get it, y'all. I'm trying to work this whole being out of town thing out. But this was Pose. We know that the season finale is next week. And oh, excuse me, y'all, that's my phone. The season finale is next week. I'm sorry, but we know it's been renewed for season 2. So we see some of these characters' stories sort of playing out, because when they made it, they didn't know they were going to have a season 2. So they're sort of giving us some closure, but they're leaving doors open. So we know that different things can happen. Y'all know how that happens on these TV shows. So we see that at the beginning of the episode, Blanca finds Pappi's pager. Now, let me tell y'all, y'all little millennials, y'all young folk, y'all probably was thinking, what's the big deal? It's not the... Back in the day, when you saw somebody with a pager that wasn't a doctor, you automatically assumed that they were doing something illegal. Like, that was the stigma that was attached to people who had pages. I remember when I got my first page, I had to hide it from my parents because they automatically assumed that people who had pages were drug dealers or doing something illegal or something they shouldn't be doing. But back in the day, a lot of times you had a pager because there were no cell phones back then. There were no more cell phones and stuff. Y'all are so spoiled nowadays. If you call somebody and they wasn't home, you just had to wait for them to get home. And sometimes they might not even have an answer machine. Not a voicemail, but an answering machine. I remember I had my little answer machine. Girl, you couldn't tell me nothing. My godmother gave it to me as a birthday gift. You couldn't tell me nothing when I got my daggone voicemail. And I had a pager too, and you would get your friends to page you, and they put in a little code. 911 was an emergency. I remember I had codes for my friends, like 01, that was my boyfriend because he was number 1. And then 02 was like my best friend. You put your number in, then you put your code in. Y'all, okay, I done went off for 2 minutes about a pager. But neither here nor there, Blanca jumped to that same conclusion. Like, what the fuck you got a pager for? Are you selling drugs? She then sort of interrogates the house, and Angel and Damon, they stick by Pappi, and they like, no, he ain't selling drugs, he not doing nothing wrong. Ricky asked them, then told it. Ricky done went in there and spilled the damn beans. He done broke code. And he told Blanca, but his reason for saying it was like, look, I love this house. I love you. And I don't want to give you no reason to put me out. I ain't trying to go back to the park bench. I ain't trying to go back to hustling on the pier. Like, I know my life is better here than there. And I don't want you to think that I'm lying to you. And so Blanca, she goes down to the piers and she catches Pappi red-handed. Now, let me say this to you, Mr. Pappi. And I like you, Pappi. I know I always be laughing and talking about Pappi. Pappi did this shit that a lot of kids, because he was a kid, do. You get mad, you lash out, and then when the consequence hits your ass, then you want to backtrack and backpedal and pussy pop. Now, Blanca came at you, and you came at Blanca with the "you not my mother," and I don't have no other options, and you try to throw Angel in there talking about something. You ain't got no problem with Angel selling her ass. And Blanca's thing was, because Angel is a trans woman and her options are limited. But yes, she's selling her ass, but she's not destroying the community. You're selling drugs, which is destroying the community. Now, mind you, you splitting hairs, but I understand your reasoning. I understand where you're coming from, Blanca, but you are splitting hairs. But Pappi throws all that shit at Blanca, so Blanca's like, you know what? Get your shit, and I want you out in the morning. And if you don't come and get your shit, I will put it on the street. Do I think that had Pappi been a little more humble, Blanca may have been a little more flexible? Maybe. But I think Blanca was really stern in how she felt about Pappi not selling these drugs. But the fact that Pappi wasn't, and then he was all, "you not my mother, stay out my business," that hurt her more than anything else, because that's all she's been trying to do, is build a family and be there for you and be that home that you didn't know you had. And Pappi was like, look, I had an 8th grade education. My options are very limited. I don't have a lot of options on what I'm going to do. And as Blanca is walking away, now all of a sudden, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I said I was sorry. See, a lot of people, y'all think that just because you say you're sorry, that means everything goes back and we reverse. No, you hurt me. You said some shit that hurt. I told you what the consequences were going to be if I caught you selling drugs. You done lied to me on more than one occasion about doing it, and you got to go. There's Pappi. We'll get back to Mr. Pappi, though. All right, Miss Electra. Poor Electra. This was her reckoning. This episode was her reckoning. Electra, she had the surgery, so now she hooking up with Sugar Daddy, and he goes to reach for her, and he thinks she tucked, and she tells him, "No, my tucking days are over, baby." And he jumps back like she bit him. Now, Electra, the man done told you, he was very clear that if you don't have a penis, he don't have no use for you. He was very clear about that. And he told her point blank, if you do this, then we're done. You and your arrogance thinking that your love or your hold or your sex or whatever you thought it was so good and so great that he wouldn't leave you, that he would deal with the fact that you no longer had a penis and would be cool with it. But he was like, no, you broke. He was like, I don't ask much of you, but I told you very clearly, these were the rules, and you broke them, and now you're out. And that shit did not fully, what's the word I'm looking for? Sink in what she was saying, or what he, what he was saying to her, and she really thought that she was like, well, I'm gonna give you a couple of weeks to calm down, and you'll be back. And he was like, he was already in his mind on to the next one. Because, see, that's all you were to him. The money didn't mean shit to him because he had it. And that's all you were to him. And he told you that. He was very clear. Now, you heard what you wanted to hear, or you thought you could convince him otherwise. But he was very clear. Anyway, she goes back to the house of abundance, tells the girls to get out the bedroom because she's going to be staying there for a little while. Says there's going to be some new rules in the house. And they're like, well, what? So she was renting out that space where her children stayed, but she wasn't living there. She was living in the penthouse. And so she didn't kick them out the bedroom, told them no loud music and no this and no that, and bring me a drink and no smoke. Only person smoking in the house is me. And they are looking at her, and of course Candy and Cece are looking at her like, bitch, what? And so their whole attitude is, well, the only reason why we've been putting up with your nasty ass is because you got some money and you semi got us living good and stuff up in here. But if it ain't no money coming in, then we don't really have no use for you no more. And you see their attitude, they already was 1 foot out the door, but this is pushing them even further. And Electra was like, look, I got a couple of furs I can sell. Don't worry about it. This is temporary. We're good. Come to find out, I'm going to just go ahead and move a little bit forward with that. Come to find out, Electra ain't paid the rent in 2 months because she was a little short on that little Christmas stash. And she needed more money for her surgery, so she wasn't paying the rent. I guess thinking she would get in when she fit in and catch up later on. And now they about to be evicted. So Electra goes back to the apartment. She's like, well, I got a couple of furs I can sell. We're good. Goes back to the apartment. And the doorman won't let her up. And she think that, again, y'all know how Electra thinks she's queen of it all. She tries to push past him, and he tells her, look, you little freak, your days are done. Everything in that apartment belongs to Mr. Jackson, I think his name was. You leave. He's given very specific instructions not to let you up there. So Electra, it doesn't look like you packed a bag or nothing. So whatever the fuck you had up there, you have lost, boo. And then as she's walking by, she see the new chick coming by telling her something. Go up to the penthouse, right? So he's already found your replacement. You done played yourself. And again, I shouldn't say you played yourself because you were being true to yourself. You just thought you could have your cake and eat it too. He told you if you chose the surgery, you would lose him. You chose the surgery, and I'm not saying you should not have done that because you have to be true to who you are. But you should have understood that the consequence was that you no longer were going to have him. You should have cleaned that damn apartment out first. That's what I would have done. Pappi goes to pick up his stuff from the apartment, and him and Ricky get into an argument because he finds out Ricky's the one that ratted him out. And the house is mad at Ricky, except for Blanca, of course. Angel's mad at Ricky. Damon's mad at Ricky. And Angel tells, Ricky point blank, I'm mad at you and I'm mad at Blanca because y'all broke up the family. She was like, you broke street code and you snitched and you ratted on your brother. And Blanca lied to us because she said this was all about family, but the first time something happened, she done put Pappi on the street. So Angel's kind of in her feelings about the whole situation. And Damon's upset, but he's he's dealing with it in Damon's way. Damon ain't no rah-rah kind of guy. But he just not speaking to Ricky. He ain't giving Ricky no attention, no love. So, when Candy and Cece find out that Electra is behind on the rent and she ain't got no money coming in, they leave. And they tell her, we're going to start our own house. And they decide to be co-mothers. And they're starting their own house, the house of, I wrote it down, because they came up with a couple of names and they came back to the House of Veracity, y'all. So they are co-mothers of the House of Veracity, and they start talking about who they could get, what Vogue they could get, what person they could get to do this and do that. So they're really figuring this out. And they were like, hell, if Blanca could do it, we can do it. Because, they had no respect for Blanca. They cool, so to speak. I think of them as like the housewives type relationships. Like, we cool or whatever, but we ain't really friends. You know what I'm saying? And we will talk about you at the first opportunity that it is presented to us to talk shit. That's what we will do. Mr. Ford, that was his name. Electra's sugar daddy is Mr. Ford. Alright. Now, I'm going to get to Angel's story in a minute, but let's talk a little bit more about Pappi. Pappi gets caught up doing the drugs because now he really is on the street. So he gets caught up in the drugs, and he was selling weed, but now the dude wants him to up his game into the crack game. And, anybody who knows anything about the 80s and the 90s, crack just decimated all the poor communities throughout the United States. And you see that Pappi is like, okay, they make him look out. And he ends up getting hung up by the because one of the things Blanca told Pappi was, if you get arrested, don't use your phone call for me because I'm not coming to get you. So Pappi gets arrested, but he was able to throw the drugs away. So it was just an arrest and release, basically a catch and release type situation, because they didn't catch nothing on him, and they really didn't have no probable cause for arresting him, just for being on the street at night, looking suspicious, but he didn't really do nothing. So he ends up getting released. And you see that the dude that he's selling drugs for is like, look, I need you to lay low for a little while. I need you not to be on the streets because your face is out there now. The police kind of know to look for you. You kind of hot. So we need you to kind of stay on the back burner for a little while. So Pappi is just like, the fuck? Okay. So we're gonna get back to that in a minute. Angel and Stan. Now, Stan done left his wife. He about to get a divorce. He done moved in with Angel. They playing house. They boyfriend and girlfriend. They holding hands in public. They doing the damn thing, right? And Angel even tried to cook a little home dinner, one of them little TV dinners and everything, And Stan says, I want to see your life. I want to see how you live. I knew then that was gonna be some bullshit. He said, I want to come to the balls. So Angel was like, okay, so she takes him to the ball, and I wrote it down because somebody gonna correct me if I say it wrong. The ball was intergalactic best dressed. So you already knew from the category, the ball wasn't intergalactic, the category was intergalactic. You already knew from the category was gonna be some crazy, psychedelic, avant-garde type stuff going on. And these costumes, honey, were some shit. You hear me? These people did it up. They was doing, the children was doing the damn thing. But Stan ass was like a deer caught in the headlights, y'all. He looked so out of place. And it was obvious, because they were like, he's a spy. People walking away from him, giving him crazy looks. One chick pull up on him and was like, oh, so you must be Angel's man. Well, when you get sick of her, you can call me. I mean, it was just a mess. And you see the whole time Stan is just looking real, just nervous, and he wants to leave. And Angel was like, you got to at least wait to see me walk. And he was like, all right. But he was ready to go. So they when they leave the bar, she won a little trophy. They don't show her walk, but she won a little trophy, and he was saying, oh, you look good, you did a really good job. He was congratulating her. But they get to talking, and he basically tells her, look, I don't know, excuse me, he said, I don't know where I fit in anymore. He said, I don't fit in here, I don't fit in with my wife. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I fit in. My whole life has been turned upside down. And I'm just, he don't know what to do. And he's telling Angel, and I knew what he was telling Angel. He was basically telling her, I'm done, I can't do this, But he really does care about Angel. He just is not ready to be in that world. But he didn't have to be. You know what I mean? Like, Angel didn't say, I need you to be in my world. I think she wanted him to understand her world. But they have this conversation, and I was like, I knew then. I said, I said, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. Well, the mighty have fallen. Electra is out on a date. She done put an ad in the Village Voice, and basically she must have put in the ad she looking for a sugar daddy or whatever, looking to be a kept woman. And she finds a guy. He got money. He agrees to all of her terms and conditions: a private car, a house with an allowance, and all this other stuff. And he said, I just got one condition. He said, I got a few things too. He said, you won't see, you got to wear a certain type of fingernail polish. You won't see any men other than me. Like, he's giving her his criteria too. And then he says, and every once in a while, I need you to pee on me. And it's funny because Electra don't even flinch. I let you know she done dealt with crazy shit before. And I guess she was thinking, all right, that's what I got to do. That's what I got to do. He said, yeah, I really like when you can aim it at a certain spot or whatever. And Electra was like, I can't do that. He said, no, you try. You might like it. She was like, no, what I'm saying is I can't aim. I no longer can aim. And he gets mad. He said, well, you really should put that. He said, you really should put that in your ad. That, basically that you're post-op. You need to let people know that. So I don't know what her ad said, but clearly her ad was not clear enough for him, and he pays the bill and he leaves. So you see Electra really has hit rock bottom. Her children done left her. I think the 2 boys are still there, but Candy and Cece done left, start their own house. Mr. Ford has cut her off cold turkey. I mean, no nothing, whatever. Like I said, even if she had a little bit of money scraped away, saved up in the apartment, she couldn't get back in the apartment to get nothing. She tried to get up there and couldn't get her nothing. She's about to be put out of the house that she does have, and she's pretty much at rock bottom. And we see that she ends back up at the Peep Show, which is where Mr. Ford found her to begin with. She ends up, back at the Peep Show, and because she's post-op, she's not even making a lot of money. You see, she sits there for a long time before that curtain goes up and she has a paying customer. So you see the mighty have fallen. You see that that Electra, you almost feel sorry for her at that point. I don't, because I'm like, you created this situation. I'm not saying she shouldn't have had the surgery. I'm just saying she should have better prepared, knowing, I think she just had convinced herself that this man wasn't going to leave her. And she lived thinking that he loved her enough that he didn't mean what he said, which he did. So we see that that's what she is. She ends up back in the Peep Show, and it's really, like I said, it's really a sad thing. Blanca is struggling with the situation with Pappi. Like, she really feels bad that she put Pappi out. She heard what Angel said about how she feels about what she did to them and that kind of thing. And so you see, she reached out to Damon's teacher. I forget her name, but she reached out to her, and they get to talking, and she asked her, do you think I made the right decision? And she says, look, I'm not a parent either. And Blanca says, yeah, but you are a teacher, and all of your students are your children. And as a teacher, she's right. She said, do you think I was too stern? And she said, look, only time will tell if you made the right decision. However, if you really feel like that was the right thing to do, then that was the right decision. And you just have to kind of live with it. And it's unfortunate, and Blanca explains why she's so strict. She said she felt like her brother just ran all over her mother and got away with everything. And so she said, when I set my rules, maybe I was too stern, but that's because I grew up seeing what happens when you aren't made to follow rules and you aren't made to have any type of structure. And you see that she's sort of second guessing the whole situation with Pappi. And she actually runs into, I want to say Pappi came, I don't know, she ran into Pappi on the street. And, you see that, I want to say she even asked him to come home. I can't remember exactly. But he tells her that he got arrested. And he said, and you're right, I didn't call you. That ain't the phone call I used. He said, but don't worry, I'm okay now. She said, well, Pappi, come on back home. Let's work this out. Just come on back home. Because Pappi tells her, he said, I'm not selling drugs anymore. And, he says, but he says, but I'm sorry, y'all. I got distracted. She said, well, then come on back home. If you're not selling drugs anymore, come on back home. We'll figure it out. And he said, I'm good. I got a new house. And he done fucking joined the House of Veracity with Candy and Cece. And they treating him like a fucking errand boy. So I don't know about that one, Pa. I think he's mad right now. But I think he's going to get sick of because they were talking to him any old crazy kind of way. And I think he's going to get sick of that. So I don't know how long he's going to stay with the House of Veracity. But right now he's trying to get back at Blanca. And Blanca told him, he said, oh, I'll get him back. And Cece said, do your best, bitch. Honey, it's about to get nasty. And see, that's the storyline that I think is going to extend into next season. You know, that whole dynamic with the new house and who's in what house and all of that. All right. Here we go. Some things and got real. Electra's back at the peep show. Angel goes to the apartment. Stan asked and cleaned out the he didn't just leave, y'all. He cleaned the apartment out. He didn't want to leave no mistake to Angel that he was ever coming back. He got rid of the furniture. I mean, everything is gone. It's just like a clean apartment, like when you get ready to resell it. Like, it is gone. Now, her key still worked, so they hadn't locked her out of the apartment or anything, but he was gone and all his stuff was gone, and he left her shit in a trash bag in the middle of the floor. I said, now, you could have at least packed her shit, and you could have at least bought a suitcase for her ass, got her walking through the streets with a fucking trash bag. I thought that was real disrespectful. And I get that Stan left, but I think the way you did it was real disrespectful, Stan. You could have done better than that. Left her shit in a trash bag. And so we see Angel ended back up on the stroll. You know, she's back, you know, on the stroll. Electra back at the peep show. Pappi's with the House of Veracity. I think that's all we got, y'all. Hold on, let me make sure that's all my notes. Yeah, that's all my notes. That's all my notes. So that's where we ended up. And we're going to see how the season finale plays out and who ends up where, what, and how. I was going to try to, I got a bunch of videos I'm going to try to drop today, y'all. I've been watching the show. Just got to get time to do the videos. But y'all let me know what y'all think in them comments. Y'all have a good day. Peace.